So let's conclude with doing the third chapter of the Grand Prix. In the line with e6, you play f4, d5, and you play knight f3. And now we're going through a6. This is to stop the white bishop from going to b5 and pin the knight. So black wants to be able to play knight c6 unbothered. So we're going to play d4, takes, and now it looks like we're giving the possibility to play knight c6 with the tempo. But we've already gone through this ideas, through this motive in one of the previous videos. So go check that out. We're going to look at knight f6 now. We haven't seen this before. Now, what to do now? Here we take the pawn, and there's two ways to take back. If they take with the knight, then you simply take, and now we're going to isolate the pawn. If queen takes, take, and you're going to play against the isolated pawn. There's no compensation. Knight can come with a tempo on the queen now. You play queen to e4. They can recapture, but you take. And now how do you play with the isolated pawn? You play bishop to e3. This move is there to control this diagonal. It's a very important diagonal. Limit the movement of the rook. Bishop to f5, attacking the pawn. You play c3. This is much better than castling because we want to stop knight b4. And now if they play, for example, b5 to be able to move the rook, you play rook d1 attacking the pawn, rook d8, but you play a4 and you're gonna win the pawn, free pawn. If they take you, which is the best move, you're gonna play bishop takes a4, bishop takes a6, and black has these two weaknesses. We have no weaknesses, and position is, I think position is evaluated here. This is black having played the best moves in this faulty variation, and position is better for white. After c3, if they play bishop d6, for example, developing, you play rook d1, attack the weak pawn, knight e7 to defend it, g3 to solidify the pawn chain so you can move the bishop, bishop to e4, king f2 to protect the knight, h5. These are best moves by black, trying to hold on in a faulty variation. Bishop d3, get rid of that bishop, take, and castling, and let's say the final move to conclude this line. The computer says knight d4, and I guess we're going to hit that pawn later on in the game. So let's close the line here. This is black resisting fairly well actually to this faulty variation. Here when we took the pawn, what if they had taken with the pawn? Okay, you play bishop e3. And now two options. If they play, let's go with this one. So knight to g4, this to attack the bishop doesn't work, you just win the pawn. So that's a free pawn. If they take, you take with check. The bishop has to block. Obviously bishop e6 is not possible. I mean, it is possible. You can then, because the bishop's pinned, but the knight is under attack by position evaluated +5, because you can castle, protect the knight like that, and then you also have checks that potentially win the queen. So let's say they play bishop to e7 here, castle. It's a fantastic position. Now you're threatening a check that wins the queen. So king f8, knight b6. The rook cannot move. The rook is trapped. There's an attack on the queen. The queen moves away. Bishop c4, this is the computer being computery, because now, you could just win the rook, but the rook can now move, but it doesn't really help, because rook e1 finalizes the attack on that bishop, knight c6 developing, defending the bishop a bit further, knight to g5, and the bishop can't move, it's pinned, and we're going for f7, bishop g4, best move according to the engine, you take with an attack on the queen moves away to the only square available, you play rook to d7, finalizing the attack on that bishop, and if the bishop moves, you got a queen e8 sacrifice, there is a checkmate. So let's go back after bishop e3. What if they play knight c6 with an attack on the queen? The reason why we play bishop e3 is so that we could play queen b6. And again, it's a thematic thing to reduce the moves of this rook by stopping the b pawn. Queen e7, castle, queen to b4, best moves according to the engine. You can just take the pawn. What are they going to do? If they take the queen, takes, attack the rook moves, take the bishop, they move again, and now g3. The plan is simple. Let's say they play bishop to develop, bishop h3 attacking the rook moves, take, and now you go for the pawns, and it's impossible to protect them. If they push the b pawn, you take the a pawn. If they move the knight, you play b4. Now they can move the knight with an attack on the bishop, you play bishop c5, and they can't move, and we're going to win the pawns. You're also threatening a deadly check with the rook, so they have to block like that, and you pin the bishop, castle, and now you can take this pawn. Obviously, you can't really take the bishop without losing your bishop, so you're going to have to go back to b7. They can take, you take, and position evaluated +5, even though those two pawns are a bit ugly, but this is a passed pawn protected by the bishop. Let's go back when the knight took. What if the knight takes? Okay, then we're going to take back. Everything is still defended. Everything's fine. They take. Bishop moves. In this case, we don't have a knight to trap the rook. You go back to the rook. They can castle. It looks like it's a normal game, but you play bishop to d3. And black can't really move his pieces properly. Bishop to d8, trying to swap with our very strong bishop so black can develop. the rooks, because let's say they develop the bishop, developing, play bishop to e4, and you know the knight, let's say the knight moves, you just attack it, it's gotta go back to c6, so the mobility of the black player is very reduced. h3 attacks the bishop, bishop goes back, rook h1, the idea of playing f5, rook to c8, did black manage to finally be able to develop the rooks, play f5, the bishop has to move, and then you attack it again, and then he has to move, and then you attack it again with a4, so it's an ugly position. Now here, if they play bishop d8 to swap with our bishop, because our bishop stops the development of the rooks, you take, surprisingly, bishop e4, and remember we've been up a pawn for a while, bishop to d7, how to go about here, knight e5, they take, we have an isolated pawn, but it's all fine, rook a to b8, only move, finally be able to push the b pawn, but now you go on and dominate with the rooks, king to f8, best move, rook double up, the king goes after the rook, but then you play rook d6, because obviously there was a double attack on the bishop, bishop moves back, this is the computer trying to resist in a faulty variation, rook to d6, and if they take, you take back with the pawn, and that's it, the king has to go back, you play c4, and the pawns are defending each other, and this is a completely winning position. There's no way to stop the influence that we have on the b7 pawn. Another line that needs to be seen, so after knight c3, and then they play e6, f4, d5, knight f3, when they take the pawn, we didn't see this line yet, take back, knight c6, bishop b5, and now bishop to d7. So let's explore this. You play queen to e2, and we're going to look at two options before we close this short video. Let's say they play a6 to attack the bishop. Okay, well, take, and looks like they have a fine pawn structure to play b3, the only way to develop the bishop in such scenarios. Knight f6, take it. It's important to remove that knight, you'll see why. The queen now attacking the rook, knight e5, and it looks like they can take a free pawn, but you play knight takes, pawn takes, and we're happy to do that pawn structure problem. Bishop to b2, developing, bishop e7, and now you take that pawn, so that pawn is not poisoned. Okay, rook g8, g3, counter-attacking on the queen, queen moves away, and bishop returns safely. f6, best move, also you want to play e5, and then castle. a5 by black, trying to open the files for the rook, and surprisingly the move is d4. We are allowing a4, but that because it comes with an attack, to be honest, and there's a weak pawn in e6, so we want to take. So c4 seems logical now, you take, surprisingly. It looks a bit ugly, but actually there is nothing. Position evaluated plus 250, the rook can go to b8, I haven't really created this line yet. You're going to play rook to d3, which seems very logical. I mean, it is the best move, and then carry on like this. I guess what the takeaway here will be that the position of the black king is really bad. Let's go back a second. When they play knight f6 and take, what if they take with the pawn? This looks also totally fine. Bishop b2, rook to g8 appears possible, castle, and now the bishop can develop with an attack on the pawn. g3 to defend it. This knight looks a bit unstable, but you're okay. Queen to a5, obviously king b1, don't allow that to come so close to the king. Bishop g7, rook h to f1 to defend the knight. We can't really move the knight anywhere that makes sense, so rook f1 is the best move. Castle long, looks like a normal game, you play g4, and the idea is to clamp on the weaknesses. So queen c7 and queen e3, these are all the best moves. Let's say the queen defends the pawn, you play bishop to a3, clamping down on that pawn. If they play b6 to defend it, the bishop goes back, you've created a weakness. h6, best move according to the engine, you play d3. And the idea is to reroute the knight. You're going to play knight d2, and the knight should be able to become a very strong piece there. We're going to be winning the bishop pair no matter what back from our opponent. a5, the idea of playing a4, you play a4 yourself, and the attack remains. Now here the best move according to the engine is to take the knight, and you've got to take back and carry on with the game. Position evaluated only +1, but this is black having played 21 stockfish moves. So, well, there's not much we can do at that point. So back in this position, after they play bishop d7, you play queen e2. What about they play knight f6? I've encountered this recently. Again, remember the pattern, you take, and now knight e5, trying to take the bishop pair from our opponent, and we want to take this knight and crash the pawn structure. Two options here. Let's say they play, let's say they take the knight. Take back, comes with an attack on the queen, check, g3, queen b4, double attack on the bishop, take, and now rook f1 attacking the square f7. This is a weakness because it cannot be, you cannot push f6 now. It's a very good move. King e8, best move. b3, we want to develop the bishop from the fianchetto. Rook d8, bishop b2, h5 is the best move, and here you castle. If they play, let's say, h4, you play g4. Don't open the file for that rook. If they play rook to d7, you play pawn to h4. So that's an important move. You're going to play rook f4 very soon, and then rook f1. And again, this is also this is minimal advantage for white, but it's still our opponent. Like I make black play specific moves, so to see how to react to such moves, and then the computers play each other, and I can see what the weaknesses are, so that when my opponents play such moves with me, I know how to punish them. So here after knight e5, the last thing we're going to look at, what about bishop to d6? Developing. Fine, the idea was to take the bishop, take back, and now castle. Looks like a free pawn, but you can play d4 now, crazy enough. What are they going to do? If they take with check, we're down 2 pawns, but you move the king. There's a double attack on the bishop now. They can take, and now check. If they move up, queen e6, and it's mate to follow. If they move down, rook takes, threatening to skewer, threatening to pin the queen. Rook f8, best move, you just take this pawn. Fantastic position, completely winning. After d4, what if they instead play the computer move, which is g5 to protect the bishop, c3 now to defend the pawn, the queen can move away. Did we just mess it up? No, take, take, take. And the black king is in trouble. Rook f8, best move, because we're going to double up the rooks, but now we play rook e1. So what are we going to do now? a6 attacking the bishop, take, take. The pawn structure is still safe, but now you take this pawn. And we don't care that this comes with check, because you can just move the king. And then, let's say they play b5, because you were threatening rook to b5. I can't make an arrow here. Yeah, rook to c4, pinning the queen, but you can do check. If they take, then you have queen e6 check with a checkmating attack.